Bulginaka, do you know that cybercrime is becoming a growing problem in Fiji?
Cybercrime is defined as a crime in which a computer is the object of the crime, such as hacking and spamming.
Cybercrime is also cyberbullying and using fake profiles to cause panic and spreading false news.
If you're involved in this or know anyone who's committing these crimes, report them immediately.
I'm Polly.
And I'm Peter.
We host the Traffic Jam Show on City FM.
From 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. every weekday.
Do the right thing.
In this bulletin, some USP courses may be dropped. Ratuisoa ordered to pay AG $80,000. And Fiji could receive COVID vaccine next month.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Atera Lendua.
The acting Vice Chancellor and President of the University of the South Pacific, Dr. Julio Ponga, has indicated that some courses may be dropped this year. For the first time since taking up the position, Dr. Ponga is now saying they're struggling to retain all the courses. Speaking to FBC News exclusively, Dr. Ponga said they're looking at the viability of some courses and also areas to make savings in order to deliver. He has indicated doubts, saying while most of the courses offered last year will be available, it will depend on the enrollment and the interest of the students.
We are trying our best, to make sure that all the courses here, continue the reputation of the university and make sure that the courses are accredited, just to help out with those that are coming into to study at the University of South Pacific.
Former Sodalpa MP Ratuisoa Tikodha has been ordered to pay Attorney General Ayaz Said Qayyum $80,000 in defamation costs by the Suva High Court this morning. Said Qayyum had sued Tikodha for comments to a Sydney community radio station, which was later posted on the Fiji Expos Forum Facebook page. Tikodha, in the 2018 interview, had accused Said Qayyum of abusing his powers and engaging in criminal activities. The former MP has also been ordered to pay $5,000 as a court cost. COVID-19 vaccination will be rolled out as soon as Fiji receives the first batch of AstraZeneca vaccine from the World Health Organization. Health Minister Dr. Ifiremi Wanganambete confirms Fiji could take delivery of the drugs by next month, according to the schedule provided by the WHO. He adds that preparatory training has already been completed Fiji-wide, and frontline workers who will be the first to receive vaccination have been informed.
We are hoping that within this first quarter, we will get the first batches of vaccine. I've just been talking to some of the ambassadors that have begun vaccinations, and the same story is they've received vaccines in batches. No particular country, first world country, has actually received all the vaccines that they've needed at once.
The Electoral Commission has recommended that it be a mediator or, if necessary, an arbitrator for disputes between political parties. Commission Chair Suresh Chandra made submissions to the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Justice, Law and Human Rights, which is considering 3 bills to amend Fiji's electoral framework. Chandra says the Political Parties Registration Act has introduced dispute resolution processes in the law. He adds any decision of the Commission as mediator or to arbitrate should be final and is not subject to any further appeal or review by any court, tribunal or any other adjudicating body.
In an election, timelines are essential, and taking legal action may not fit within the expected timelines of the election. Proceedings in the court may give desired outcome, but the event may have passed its necessity.
Fijians living in the highlands of Navosa will no longer have to wait for hours or days in order to cross the Matewale crossing in times of flooding. The crossing is susceptible to flooding and has hindered accessibility for most Fijians in the highlands over the past decade. Infrastructure Minister Tony Sumate, while visiting the site, said the crossing has been washed away 5 times during the 2 recent tropical cyclones. He adds the Fiji Roads Authority has hired a contractor to build a new crossing at a higher elevation. Sumate says this is part of the government's effort in improving accessibility for Fijians in the rural areas. The new crossing is expected to be completed by August this year. The Pacific Blue Foundation is working on the preservation of the largest lagoon in Fiji, which consists of over 440 square kilometers. The organization says their work is also centered around the protection of coastal areas and communities with specific focus on the sustainability of marine ecosystems. Project manager Stefano Katz says there's a real threat that coral reef communities will degrade and that coastal stability will continue to decline from climate change-induced effects such as increased sea temperatures.
Looking into developing and applying nature-based solutions to threats, as well as preserving some of the intact environments and habitats which are there.
More villagers in Kandavo are purchasing their own fiberglass boats and using them as a means to earn an income by transporting people wanting to travel across the islands. The majority of these boat owners turned to transporting business after their farms were severely affected by Tropical Cyclone Yasa and Ana earlier last month. Ngona farmer Watisoni Wungona, who liaises with boat owners for the transport of his produce, says this helps generate economic activity on the island. He says these small boats are the only mode of transport to nearby islands, and it's fortunate that many people are tapping into this transporting business. Up ahead, Silktail's complete quarantine, and Navua Futsal optimistic.
Oira na ngone no de nunu ena be singa ni mataka.
Merse sunga da ken loma dina kena mikron.
Sakena ngau na metar lobina no na baksa ika wala loma taki na ngone. Dalabina oya o meliki.
Bulre oya o Samuel Samuli.
Nama kiki rau ena be mataka.
Oniti kena makarombuka.
Ni wai tiri kalima na miniti me ono kina tiri na kaloko. Ena Radio Fiji One na ndomo ibiti.
Inau kina na mataka. Dan ramai na singabo.
The Kaibiti Silktails have completed their 14 days mandatory quarantine in Australia. Yesterday, the team left their hotel for the first time since their arrival. When they left Fiji 2 weeks ago, for about 12 of the players, it was the first time they traveled by plane. Silktails chair Petero Thibonideba says 7 years of hard work behind the scenes will be put to the test this season.
A few funny stories of players that, first time leaving their village, hopping onto a plane for the first time, going into hotel quarantine, it's just this amazing new world for them. And that's what's great about this whole opportunity. It's about hopefully putting them onto a bigger stage. And the dream of this is to hopefully see a few of these players get these opportunities to hopefully excel into the NRL.
The Fiji National Rugby League prides itself in its development programs. Since the establishment of the Fiji Primary School Rugby League competitions, the FNRL has witnessed a growth in interest. Acting Chief Executive Donna Tambe says the impact of the program has allowed them to reach out to schools in the north, specifically in Riketi, which is the stronghold of the Primary Schools Rugby League.
We have delivered more health and well-being programs in primary schools than in other more than in other programs that we have had, and we look forward to replicating this success across the new 7 initiatives that we are launching here today.
School cricket will continue with its competition this year after ending prematurely in 2020. Cricket Fiji was not able to complete its secondary school meet last year due to the pandemic, but plans have been mapped out for this season. The secondary school competition will kick off in the second term, while the primary school meet is scheduled to be held in the third term. Development Officer Sitibeni Rokoro says hosting schools competition is part of the players' pathway to the national teams.
We will run our secondary schools competition for boys, under 19 boys in the second term. So we hope to run that for 7 weeks from week 4 in the second term for schools in the Southern Division, here in Suva, Nasinu and Nosori, and Teleu, including QVS and RKS, and also for Nandi and Lotaka as well.
Navo futsal team is remaining optimistic as they head into the fourth round of the Fiji FA Futsal League Southern Zone. The Aman Sharma coached side ended with a 2-2 draw against Navua in round 3 of the competition at the FMF Gymnasium last night, placing them in 6th place on the standings. They began their campaign with a 6-5 loss to an experienced Rewa side. Hoping to make a comeback, Sharma says they have learned from their mistakes in their last 2 matches and they hope to improve in the next few rounds.
We were a bit disappointed because I think we could have taken the game away. Unfortunately, a few mistakes cost us the game, but I think we are very optimistic to our next game and very optimistic for this league as well.
An active trough of low pressure to the north of Fiji and is expected to drift south, bringing some rain to northern areas tomorrow. Meanwhile, we can expect a fine afternoon and a chance of overnight showers. That's FBC News now. Join us again at 7 p.m. for our major bulletin. For news you can trust, get the facts from FBC's TV, radio, and digital news at fbcnews.com.fj. Take care. Good afternoon.
हमारे खूबसूरत देश फिजी में चाइल्ड अब्यूज की घटनाएं आए दिन बढ़ रही है।
क्यों बच्चों का मासूम बचपन अब्यूज का शिकार हो जाता है?
अपने बच्चों की सुरक्षा का खास ख्याल रखें।
उनसे बातचीत करें, उनके दोस्तों के बारे में जानें।
आज के बच्चे देश का भविष्य है। मैं दीप्ति
और मैं मोनिश,
आपके हमसफर। शामिल हो जाए हमारे साथ मंडे टू फ्राइडे
5:45 AM से 10 AM तक
रेडियो फिजी 2 देश की धड़कन पर।